So I am recording this now. So if anyone does not want their faces on, turn your camera off. So again, welcome. We are really excited to start this legislative session. We have a lot of plans in place. It's still a lot of planning to do. But again, our goal is to make sure that we get an equal rights amendment into our Minnesota state constitution, that it goes out on the ballot for all Minnesotans to vote on, and that it continues its process and becomes the law of the land nationally. So as I mentioned, some state actions, Betty Folliard, founder of ERA Minnesota and previous 3-term state representative. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I always get it wrong.
That's right, 3 terms.
Is here with us as well to talk about our efforts nationally. Betty leads the national. Curtis Johnson, who is not here with us yet, is taking the lead on our state outreach. And again, I'm president and I welcome you all. And so some of the things that we want to make sure is that these bills, once we have new bill numbers, we'll announce those, but the bills to get it passed here in Minnesota and nationally, get through the House and the Senate. That's the first step in the process. And so we have to do a lot to make sure our legislators know that this is important to us, and to make sure that we are on them every step of the way to get hearings in committees, to get the bills through the committees, to get them voted off the floor, to then go where they need to go. So how do we do that? We do that through talking to each other and talking to them and making sure that these folks who we've just elected truly stand for the values that we hold so near and dear, especially those around equality. So Minnesota State, we do not have an equal rights amendment in our state constitution. We have a lot of other protections, but we do not have any protections around gender and sex. We need that. And so we are making sure that we are talking to all of our Minnesota state legislators, our senators and our representatives. We did a lot of that as they were going through the election process. We were tracking all of our candidates and their responses on our website. And we will also continue to have their responses on our website as we go forward. Betty, do you want to talk a little bit about what's happening nationally before we go talk more about state? We can piggyback between the two.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So at the federal level, as you know, most of you know that this past year we passed the Equal Rights Amendment through the 38th state, which made us finally reach that goal of achieving the constitutional requirements to add an amendment to the US Constitution. And that was significant. That was last January, and Suzanne Wilhite and I were there for that. And what it meant was that now it becomes the 28th Amendment to the US Constitution. So why hasn't it? Well, because the Trump administration, we finally got their attention. I mean, we finally got the attention of an administration after 50 years. The Trump administration, DOJ, Department of Justice, stepped in and offered an opinion to the US archivist, the librarian who is supposed to certify or publish the Equal Rights Amendment once we reach the 38 states, and said, no, you can't do that because the ERA died in 1979. Now think about that. 1979 was the first deadline that was given to the Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment, the first extra textual time limit that was put on it. So now, backing up, we now have 23 attorneys general and 93 major international and national corporations, and over 50 social justice and equal rights organizations, and the Conference of Mayors, all on a piece of litigation demanding that the US archivist go ahead and certify the Equal Rights Amendment. We're actually on 2 pieces of litigation, both the one with ERA Coalition, which has the 23 attorneys general on it, including Keith Ellison. And then We're also on the equal means equal litigation, which is very similar, which basically tells the U.S. Archivist that we have met all of the constitutional requirements to certify the Equal Rights Amendment, and it is his ministerial duty to do so. So that's where we're at, but basically our focus is on the Biden-Harris administration, because for the first time in 50 years, we have a president-elect who has put the Equal Rights Amendment on his platform and made it a priority for his administration. And so at this point, what we're asking the Biden administration, or specifically President Biden, to do is to pick up the phone, call the U.S. Archivist, and tell him to certify the Equal Rights Amendment. And just know that, and I hate to talk too long on this because we can drill down if you want to, but just know that that same U.S. Archivist has been there for over a decade. I don't know how long he's been there, but we have a letter from him from 2012 asking that what would happen when we get the 38th state. And his reply was, when you get the 38th state, I will declare it ratified, because there's nothing in the Constitution that allows states to rescind, and there's nothing in the Constitution to allow allow Congress to put a deadline on an amendment. So that's where we're at, and we're pretty excited to have this wonderful new administration that's coming in that is very supportive of the Equal Rights Amendment.
It is further than we've ever been and closer than we've ever been. And that is what's so exciting. And just like nationally here in Minnesota, you know, we got further than we've ever been last year. In 2019, we saw the Minnesota House pass the state constitutional, well, actually all the bills, the resolution to Congress and the state constitution off their floor. And it was so close. And we just couldn't get any hearings in the Senate, as was the case for many issues. It got held up in the Senate. And so now here we start in 2021, needing new bills, new bill numbers. We start the whole process over. Even though the Minnesota House passed it last year, we have to start all over. But we are encouraged by the support that we know we have in the Minnesota House. We're going to continue to work with those representatives and make sure that they continue to support, and that any new folks are signing on and supporting as well. And we're really shifting a bunch of our focus over to the Minnesota Senate, because the Senate is where we absolutely have to get hearings. We have to get these bills heard in committee, so then they can be heard on the floor, so then they can go out onto the ballot for Minnesotans to decide. It is not up to our senators to decide what we may or may not want. We get to decide that. So give us the chance. And so how are we going to make sure that they know we want that chance? Is to scream as loudly as we can in every way possible. While we can't do it in person, we can do it virtually. So we do it through finding out if your legislator, your senator, or your rep are hosting virtual coffees or virtual town halls, and sign up to have a meeting with your elected official. You are the one who got them in that position, or maybe if you didn't vote for them, they're there representing you, and make sure they're hearing from you. We will be issuing postcards like we do every year. We're going to get new postcards printed once we get the House and Senate file numbers for the bills. You can send your representatives postcards. They may not all be at the Capitol all the time, but we know they'll be going there now and then. You can send them emails, social media, and I'm putting Haley on the spot, if that's okay, to talk about our social media storm that we're doing all day today. So Haley, if you wouldn't mind talking about that, I can share my screen and show everyone I think I can. Oh, I can in a second. So Haley, if you don't mind talking, I'll share my screen with the guide.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Haley. I'm the Vice President of ERAMN Minnesota. We are doing a social media storm today. So basically, this is, in my opinion, the best way to show up without showing up on opening day. So specifically on Twitter, but you can also do it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media you use. We have this guide that has some sample language on basically telling legislators to champion the ERA and to add the Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution. And so you can use that, you can create your own message and just post it to Instagram or Twitter. There's also this graphic that's available in the Facebook event, as well as on our Twitter, that you can download and add to your post. And you just want to make sure to tag your Minnesota representative, your Minnesota senator, and then hashtag Minnesota Ledge. And basically that will start to fill up that hashtag. If you go on Twitter and search the hashtag Minnesota Ledge hashtag right now, you'll see some stuff from ERA, some stuff from Moms Demand Action, and other groups that are normally at the Capitol. And it's just a great way to show legislators and other people who may be watching that hashtag that you're watching them, you want them to take action on the ERA and on other issues, and to show them that you're still showing up online, even though we can't be there in person. So if you have questions, you can ask now or message me or message us on social media. But it would be great if you can go on your social media now or at some point today and take some time to post about the ERA.
Thank you, Haley. And they can also, you all can grab that graphic as well off of the email you may have gotten if you came to us through our email subscription list, and you received an email from us. You can save that same graphic and use that to share out as well. Did anyone have any questions for Haley about that while we're talking about it? No. And you can always throw something in the chat or hang on afterwards. And I'm trying to see, sorry, a lighting situation. Okay, there we go. Just a few more folks joining us. Excellent. So yes, we have to make sure our voices are heard. We will have postcards. We will be putting out a billboard campaign like we did in the past, targeting key areas on commuting routes for our legislators as they come and go in and out of the Twin Cities. We are also going to see, excuse me, and there we are. We have membership, which we've just started up in the last year. We encourage folks to become members and just spread the word about our organization. We work in coalition nationally and across the state of Minnesota. We have so many amazing allies and friends who work so hard with us, and we try to work hard with them as well. And there's a few folks, you know, here from League of Women Voters and AAUW, and we owe so much to all of you for all the work that you do. And again, we are going, you know, we're always looking for new ideas, but for our 2021 legislative session, it's really making sure these legislators know we're here and don't use the fact that we're not able to see them in person as an excuse. There are no excuses. As we've learned in this last year, we can do pretty much anything we need to do virtually. And so utilizing your social media, if you haven't been using it a lot, start using it a lot now. And we're always happy to help. There's no, you know, there's always a learning curve. There's no perfection. Just get it out there. Talking to friends and family, we're still doing virtual presentations. If you want us to come and speak to a group of yours virtually, we can do that. And we can run the tech. We can do whatever, you know, you need us to do. Use our website, ERAMN.org. There's a lot of resources on there. And we will be putting a lot of these links in the chat as well. Now, we have some key legislators who we really want to make sure that we focus on. Of course, we're always looking at Senators Liver and Gazelka, always as the gatekeepers. But
Can I just jump in there a second? We cannot stress how important it is to talk to Paul Gazelka and Warren Limmer. We cannot underline that enough times. And if you know people in either of their districts, encourage them to write to them, encourage them to be talking to them. That we have been in the same position in the Minnesota Senate since 2016. In 2015, we passed our resolution to Congress through the Senate, and it passed 56-6. If there's a vote in the Minnesota Senate, it will pass overwhelmingly. But there is a gatekeeper, and gatekeeper number 1 is Paul Gazelka. Gatekeeper number 2 is Warren Limmer, but last year Warren Limmer just kicked it back to Paul Gazelka and said, oh, I'm going to let leadership decide that. So let's just be real clear on this. We can be in the same place spinning our wheels for 2 more years in the Minnesota Senate if we cannot get past Paul Gazelka. So I encourage every single one of you to today reach out and ask him for a hearing on the Equal Rights Amendment. And yes, I just want to underline what Heather said. We know that it feels like it's harder this year because we can't be there, but think of it as an opportunity because we have unlimited access to our legislators. And if we are focusing on the folks that we need that Heather's going to name, then we are doing our job. But particularly Paul Gazelka and Warren Limmer. Thanks.
Where does Paul Gazelka live and what district is he in?
Paul Gazelka lives, it's somewhere up by now then, but I'm not sure. And his district, sorry?
It's like Little Falls and the kind of St. Cloud. I want to say 9. I'm looking it up right now. You would think we know off the top of our head.
It is. It's District 9.
It is 9. Yep.
Yes.
It's Nisswa. I looked it up this morning. And so,
Lives in Nisswa?
yeah, which is close in Brainerd area. So think that area. If you know anybody up there,
yes, and I will be presenting to the Brainerd AAUW and League of Women Voters at Center College, I think it is, I think it's February or March. And so we're going to have a presence, much more of a presence up there, but we need to continue to ramp that up.
Yes, I put it, be sure to open your chat. So yes, Gazelka's District 9, Limmer's District 34. So if you have friends or family or want to make some friends in those districts, that would be great too. And like Betty said, we can't stress enough how much power those 2 men are wielding, and that's not okay. And again, we are a nonpartisan group. They could be from either side of the aisle. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they are holding this up and preventing any further even discussion. And so make sure if you are in those districts that you let them know that's not okay. So some of the other key legislators we're looking at, especially in the Senate, are some folks who responded yes to our survey. We want to make sure that we continue to give them our support and you give them your support so they feel supported and that they stay strong in their support for ERAMN, for the Equal Rights Amendment. So those folks are Senator Zach Duckworth, he's in District 58, Bill Ingebretson, District 8, Jeff Howe, District 13, Carla Nelson, District 26. Senator Nelson actually authored ERA legislation last session, and so we really want to encourage that she do the same again. And so, and then in the House, we have some folks that we really need to continue to work with as well. Rod Hamilton in 22, Paul Marquardt in 4B, Mary Murphy in 3B, Julie Stanspeed, in 6A, Jean Pulowski in 28A, and Dave Lislegard in 6B. And pronunciations, if I butcher them, I apologize.
And a comment about Representative Rod Hamilton. He voted yes on both of our bills last year. He's a Republican. And so we want to massage him and encourage him in his support because he's an outlier in his party and in doing so. So, if you know Rod Hamilton, if you know people who know him, anyway, we want to invite him to be a chief author or a co-author of one of our Equal Rights Amendment bills.
And if any of you are interested in knowing where your representative stands, we have the spreadsheet that we are running through this most recent election season. I've just put the link in the chat. It still has their campaign addresses. So we have recently updated, we have another thing that'll be going up on the website with their state capital emails and addresses, but at least this way you can see their name, their district, and whether or not they are supportive or not of the Equal Rights Amendment.
I want to say something about the problems I had trying to author an equal rights amendment in the state.
Phyllis, introduce yourself.
Okay, Phyllis Kahn, former state representative. I had introduced the state equal rights amendment in somewhere in the 70s, early 70s. And I had something like 65 co-authors, you know, it was just, we had to put in some multiple bills and so forth. And then suddenly there was a court case in Pennsylvania, I think it was, and it was the Pennsylvania, and just totally irrelevant. It was about the Pennsylvania Equal Rights Amendment. The judge said that the Pennsylvania Equal Rights Amendment meant that it totally also controlled that abortion rights was part of the Equal Rights Amendment. And my co-authors just dribbled off, totally went away. And it was just completely irrelevant, totally unnecessary to do that. But that was the killer at that time.
So let's just fast forward from that. Yeah, Phyllis, let me fast forward from that. Now we look at 2021, and what we see is that there are 25 states that have an equal rights amendment in their state constitution today. We're very close to 26 states with New York. And of those 25 states, not one state with a state ERA has increased abortion access. You know, that's just the fact. It's so that when we talk about abortion, we can look exactly, and this is the argument, Phyllis, that is being used by Republican legislators across the country who support the Equal Rights Amendment, that is a moot point, it is a red herring, and we're just not going to go there. The fact is that the abortion was settled on a different part of the Constitution, on the right to privacy, not on equal rights. And so when we talk about this, we always make that distinction.
Okay. I'm just talking about the history of
exactly. And Phyllis, I was just bringing it up to the present.
Yes.
So back to Heather.
And thank you, Representative Khan. I really appreciate it. And you were actually the first one to sign up for our event today. And I was very excited to see your name on there. And I'm very excited that you're here with us today. And thank you for all the work that you have done and continue to do for our great state. You know, we are so appreciative to all of our legislators who fight the fight every day. It's not easy. I commend anyone who runs and anyone who is elected. It's brutal. So these folks have a lot to do. And I know someone put in the chat something that's very relevant to that is with COVID-19 and budget issues, the Minnesota legislature is saying that they're going to be very busy and not have much of a chance to hear anything else. This excuse comes up a lot. And yes, they are going to be very busy. They have a lot going on. That is always the case. And yes, COVID-19 is a very, very special situation. No, that's not a normal situation. But again, there's always something. And one thing that we have learned is that while the Equal Rights Amendment is truly for all people, what we have learned is that women, and especially women in the community of color and Indigenous women, are suffering far more from COVID-19 related issues than ever before, than anyone else. And the Equal Rights Amendment in regards to equal pay, to anti-pregnancy discrimination, the list goes on, but these frontline and essential workers, these women who are fighting this battle with COVID-19 at work and at home, would benefit from this legislation getting passed.
I shared 2 pieces of information on our Facebook page today. Heather, you might have seen them. 2 articles, one from the Washington Post and the other from the NBC, that specifically talk about what we call the she-cession, which is the recession that has happened to women over the last year as a result of COVID, and why we need to have an Equal Rights Amendment for our economic survival. So that's very important. Take a look at those today too on our Facebook page. Heather, we just have 2 minutes more before we're jumping over to the other, but I want to quickly tell a couple of other things about the national.
Okay, go for it.
And that is our partners on the national level, our ERA Coalition and Equal Means Equal. And there will be a campus ERA day coming up. And this past year we did Face the Music for ERA, which we are looking to maybe do again this year. That was a virtual concert that we managed to bring in some fabulous national and international talent for. So there's lots going on that score too. And we're going to continue to push both Congress, I didn't mention Congress before, to remove that extra textual time limit on the Equal Rights Amendment. And those bills will be coming in at the federal level again. And we'll be pushing our state to pass that resolution to Congress to remove the deadline. And the other piece that we didn't mention is that we have 3 pieces of legislation. One is a state ERA that is on the basis of gender. One is a state ERA that is on the basis of sex, understanding that sex and gender, those 2 words define one another, and they are used interchangeably in the law. And that was underscored again this past year when the Supreme Court ruled on the Title VII legislation. And the third one is the resolution to Congress to remove the deadline on the Equal Rights Amendment. Back to you, Heather.
All right, well, I've been following the, I just put it in the chat, the House live stream. And it looks like they have not gone in yet. They were just finishing up. We were going to try to live stream. So what I'll do is I'll open this up for questions and answer session while we wait for those folks to come in. If you would like to follow it on your own computer, I did put the link there in the chat. The Senate, oh, looks like they're gaveling. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or we can talk over as well.
Yeah, I think we're fine talking.
Call the members of the Minnesota House of Representatives to order. I will appoint as clerk pro tempore Representative-elect Liz Olson from District 7B.
There are some folks there in person.
Members-elect, please stand as I call on Reverend Denise Dunbar Perkins to lead us in prayer.
So why don't you silence it a minute? Yeah.
Let us pray.
Okay, so they're calling in. I'll unmute it. Anyone have any quick questions while we're...
Look at what it looks like. There's about, it looks like there's about maybe 10 or 15 members on the floor. That's why we're not there today.
What I'm curious about is where, oh, you can see that the telephone screen there in front of her, I guess for the other members who are calling in virtually.
I don't see that. Where is that?
If you look, like, I don't know if you can see my mouse right here, there's a large monitor.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And it
All
shows
right,
a little phone icon.
That they will all be coming in like a Zoom call.
Yep.
Hopefully they turn off their mute when they go to the bathroom.
Yeah. It's definitely going to make for an interesting
Turn on their mute. So, are there any questions?
And you can see what she's saying there in the closed caption.
This is the year that the first chaplain, female chaplain, will be in the U.S. I guess it's the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House. First time ever a female chaplain assigned to, I think it's Congress. Isn't that extraordinary that it's taken this long?
Dunbar Perkins from Presbyterian Church of the Twin Cities. Members-elect, please remain standing if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Members-elect, the clerk pro tempore will call the roll by legislative district.
Okay, turn it off again because that's going to take a long time. That's 134 people.
Yes, they read quickly. But I am curious, though, how they're doing it
Present.
with.
1B, Deb Keel.
How they're doing
1B, Deb Keel.
it virtually. How will she know?
Wait, the only Democrat I see is Melissa.
Keel, present.
She's
Yeah, it came
The
in
only
through the
the
monitor.
only Democrat on the floor I see is Melissa Hartman.
And
No,
she
I
has
also
to be
see
there.
Ryan Winkler. Yeah. That might be all that's actually there.
Who's at the speaker? Who's
Simon.
that's okay.
Yeah, he until
MDH has authored several papers on health equity that might be of interest. Thank you, Jesse. That's great. And they put the link.
Oh,
right there
very
in the chat.
nice. Yes.
So that's great. Be sure to open your chat and look at those links. And thank you, Jesse. Did anyone else have any questions about, again, we are going to do everything we can to be as present as possible, virtually. We will be doing all of our normal big events. International Women's Day on March 8th. We'll be doing, fundraisers virtually. We'll be doing everything that we can virtually. And as soon as it's safe to do things in person, we'll do that when we can. But really,
Can you flip it over to the Senate?
so yeah, let me stop sharing so you don't have to watch me fumbling. The Senate didn't have a link when I went. So they have a link, but they weren't. Oh, here we go. They didn't make the link live because it said delayed. What's the word I'm looking for? Delayed something.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get it. It's very slow. The Senate, it's funny. The difference between the House and Senate, the Senate's website is, it says starting shortly. So they have still not started.
Okay. Yeah.
So they are, I'm happy to share the screen and you can, I'm sorry, I've got this light here and I'm trying to look under. I can show you what's happening in the Senate because this is one thing that's kind of cool. When we're there, we don't really get to see all of this happening behind the doors. And so this is what's happening behind the doors. There you go. There's the Senate chambers. Some folks milling around, still not exactly flooded.
Now, people coming in now. Couple of senators just entered.
And again,
they might have been in caucus in advance and just taking their time strolling in.
Okay.
I'm going to put this link in the chat as well, Senate. But it's funny, their website and everything, all their calendar of agenda and all that is much more archaic than the House. The House is kind of fancy and nice, and the Senate, while they have the much fancier, big, beautiful building, their website is a little atrocious. It's just an interesting juxtaposition.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're still just kind of doing their thing. The only
Laws of the State of Minnesota for the assembling of the legislature, I hereby call the Senate to order. Prayer will be offered by the chaplain, Pastor Mike Smith from Redeeming Love Church in Maplewood, Minnesota.
Turn that off.
Yep, so he's
Sound
gonna
off.
do his thing. But there
So
aren't as many
that-
bodies there as I would have thought. I was expecting
Yeah.
more bodies in the Senate.
Yeah, they are very much keeping away from the people who have been spreading the disease. I think there's been so much. I mean, it's really ravaged a lot of the legislators and their families. And of course, in the Senate, they lost a senator, Jerry Ralph, in December from COVID. So there is a high awareness here. And of course, many of the House members and the senators' families have been impacted, and particularly our members of color. You know, folks like Rena Moran had COVID back in April, I think it was, and Jay Zhang and some of the others, their families, they've had family members die. In fact, Mary Kunesh has an in-law, or it's either a sibling or an in-law who is right now on death's door with COVID. So, you know, there have been so many examples of people getting sick, people going into the hospital who are legislators. In fact, Paul Gazelka's mother-in-law died of COVID. Paul Gazelka got it. So if you see very few people on the floor, there's a good reason for it.
Mhm. I just lost the tab. Here we go. I was trying to show, I can do this. Apologies. As I said, you know, nothing's perfect in a virtual world. We do what we can. So what I have, I was trying to pull up both so we could kind of watch both. So this is the best I could do with that. As you can kind of see over here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. We have the Senate
Yes.
on the right, and on the left is the House.
And they're still doing, now it looks like Liz Olson is talking, so.
14E, Dan Wolgamott.
Oh my God, they're just in 14 and they're 67.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hello.
So
Jeez.
Yes.
It went a lot quicker when we were on the House floor.
yes, now I'm trying to find where that
Okay, just ring the bell. I'm here.
went.
Bye.
Where did it go? It went somewhere. I had them both up. Oh, here we go. There you go. He's still pastoring and she's still roll calling. So this is the things that we miss when we're all stood out in the halls and we're hugging and we're saying hi to friends we haven't seen in a year, and people are coming in from all around the state, and we have our signs and we're cheering as groups go up and down the stairs, and all those amazing, wonderful feelings and that energy that is in the halls. You know, I never experienced this until Betty introduced me to the fact that that building is ours. We're allowed in that building. We can go there and do these things. And that was a concept that was foreign to me until I joined ERAMN Minnesota and started doing, you know, I protested in the streets. I used to do marches, but I didn't really fully appreciate that my body could go inside that building and be a part of that energy and watch these elected officials do their work. And now, since I've learned that, it's an amazing thing. And to be there with everyone is an amazing feeling. And I can't wait till we can do that all together again. But again, having you all here watching this with us is very exciting and makes me feel really good and super positive about this year. Like I said, we are working hard. We will still be doing all the things that we've done, just a little differently. And we have to work even harder to make sure that our elected officials, and not just in our legislature, as we always say, you can contact your city council reps, you can contact your county commissioners, every level, municipal, state, federal. We want to ensure that all of our elected officials are supportive of equality. And
I just noticed that it looked like the name was Susan Ackland. It's not a name I'm familiar with on the House floor, but she had pulled down her mask. That's some of the behavior you're going to see if you watch any of this, that there are those who protest the mask wearing and they just take it off when they speak.
Peggy Flanagan speaking. Let's
To be here with all of you. To the new senators, welcome. To returning senators, welcome back. 2020. The clerk will say deferred and continue with the next district. After 10 senators-elect have been called and have presented their election certificates, Justice Anderson will administer the oath. Those senators will then exit the chamber by the side doors, and the clerk will continue with the district roll call until another 10 members are present in the chamber. We will repeat this process until all senators-elect present at the Capitol have been sworn. After that, the clerk will call the roll in numerical order of the remaining senators-elect who are attending remotely via Zoom and confirm their presence. Justice Anderson will then administer the oath to those attending remotely, and it will individually respond, "I do," as their name is called. The clerk will call the roll.
So they're doing,
One,
the
Mark,
senators are there physically first.
Yep. By
And then they're
10.
doing the remote folks.
Yep.
And they're doing 10 at a time. That's interesting.
So I wonder if there's a bunch of folks waiting out to come through it in tens. So I guess we'll see if there are actually a lot more there. Oh, maskless. No, no.
You see somebody maskless?
Yeah, that
again?
guy who just walked up and handed him the piece of paper wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah, see, this is a protest of the
Senate
governor's.
District
That guy right
4,
there.
Kent Eakin.
Yeah, I can see him.
I can't, and I know his name and I can't think of it. Which senator
I
he
can't
is.
tell who it is,
Senate
yeah.
District 5, Justin D. Icorn.
And he did.
Senate District 6, David
Yeah.
J. Tomasoni.
They don't care. It doesn't matter that they lost one of their colleagues.
Senate District 7, Jennifer A. McEwen.
Jen McEwen is a new legislator
District 8,
and very, very pro ERA.
That one guy still just, I mean, they're all just.
Senate District 9, Paul E. Gazelka.
Paul's got his on.
Let's see. Yep, okay.
He had to wear it in the White House.
Rude.
She's not.
And there's Carrie Rood is a tough nut to crack. I can tell you there are a lot of people who don't want to be
I
near
will
them.
now
right now.
ask the Honorable G. Barry Anderson, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, to administer the oath of office. Please rise.
Yeah, see, that's a much slower process because they can't do all 67 of them at one time.
Do each of you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully your duties as a senator to the best of your judgment and ability, so help you God? I do. Thank you and congratulations.
They have.
In my opinion, they're not executing their duties because they're not wearing a mask.
And again, it's not a partisan thing. It is a public health and safety thing. This is very discouraging. And I feel bad for everyone who is there doing their part and being put at risk by these
It's hard
folks.
to hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's hard to hear you.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm sharing the computer sound. So I was saying, it's so disheartening to see all these folks who are doing what they need to do for a public health and safety, and having these other folks come in and just waive all regard to that. You know, and like I said, it's not a partisan thing, it's a public health and safety thing. And that's what's so discouraging is these folks, they're elected officials. They have intelligence. They got, you know, they aren't dumb. So that's what we're working on.
Required in the Capitol to wear masks? I would think the Capitol would require it.
I believe it is required,
I believe it
but
is
it's
too.
not enforced.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Vote.
Also, you know, you're going to see a difference in their processes in the Senate and the House because one is Republican controlled, the other is democratically controlled. And so I believe the rules are more stringent about mask wearing in the House. I think that the Speaker, Melissa Hortman, kind of put her foot down on that. And obviously, Paul Gazelka has not put his foot down on it.
Yeah.
Senate District 15, Andrew Matthews.
It's their moment in the sun. They, this is the only opportunity that
Senate
they're going to
District 16,
get to be seen.
Mary H. James.
The House,
Senate District 17, Andrew R. Lang.
the House is still doing its roll call. I can see ticking around over here.
I would guess too that Mary Kiffmeyer had to wear the mask, and it probably is because she's speaking into that microphone, because Mary Kiffmeyer would be one that would go maskless normally. She is the former Secretary of State and a senator.
Senate District 20, Rich Draheim. Senate District 21, Michael P. Goggin.
I will now ask Justice Anderson to administer the oath of office. Please.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And again, these live streams are available all through session. And I highly encourage folks to, and that's another thing that we do every year, is we urge people to sit in on the committee meetings. And we'll be releasing all the information about, the links to the committee meetings that the ERA bills are sitting in. Join those meetings, be a part of them, watch them. And if it's possible, and it might only be able to be done through social media, because I don't know if they have a chat feature on these live streams, but to during the meeting say something, ask questions, and not even if, again, even if the ERA bills aren't being discussed, show up to those committee meetings, even if they're discussing other issues. Our presence at these meetings is really important. So that they know that we're lurking, we're out here, and we're watching, and we're listening, and we're demanding our turn for the things that we care about to be heard. So that will be something that we'll be doing through the session, and these live streams are going to be the way to watch those committee hearings. I don't know how they're going to do it, if it's going to look just like this, or if they're going to have the Zoom participants also on the screen. We'll see, but we'll be sharing that information as soon as we get it out to so if you're not getting our emails, if you came into this through social media, please do be sure to join our email subscription list. It doesn't, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't burden you with having to volunteer. You don't have to do anything, but you can at least hear what we're doing. And to do that, go to ERAMN.org, and there will be a pop-up box that asks you to join our subscription, our email subscription. And then be sure to check your promotion and spam folders for any emails from ERA Minnesota. A lot of them go in there until you move them into your inbox, and then eventually your email will figure it out. But that's where they go first. So if you're not getting your emails, check your promotions or spam folder, because that's where they tend to land.
Senate District 25, David H. Senjum. Senate District 26, Carla J. Nelson. Senate District 27, Jean Dorning. Senate District 28, Jeremy R. Miller. Senate District 29, Bruce D. Anderson.
Heather?
Senate District 30,
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
I'm going to need to hop off in just a minute here.
And
So
that's
I
fine.
wanna-
Does anyone have questions for Betty before she leaves about
Yeah.
national?
I don't want to stop anybody from watching this if they want, but I have to dash. So any questions about national or anything else? Well, thank you everybody so much for coming today, and so glad to get this kicked off here this way. Thank you, Heather, for being our techie here, and thank you, Haley, for doing the Twitter storm, and everybody help Haley out on that, will you please? Thanks.
Thank you,
Take
Betty.
care.
And I'm gonna hop off too.
Bye-bye,
so-
bye-bye.
Bye
All
bye.
right, and thank you, Haley. Thank you. And to anyone who wants to stick around, I'm going to be on for a little while. Another thing I want to just talk about besides our email sign up, I mentioned earlier, our membership, which we just launched last year. Becoming a member of ERA Minnesota is a way that you can be more involved in our organizational process. And as well, it helps. Every bit that gets donated to us gets put right back out in buttons, brochures. None of us are paid. All of us are volunteers. So every cent that is donated to ERA Minnesota, whether it's through membership or regular donation, goes right into getting this work done, paying for our Zoom account, by paying for the postcards that we're going to send to the legislators, all these things. And if you have ideas that you want to share or you want to get involved, please do not hesitate to let us know. You can email me at heather@eramn.org or go to our website and take a look at ways to get involved. Did anyone have any questions? I'm just going to keep kind of playing the live stream for a while because I like seeing it. So I'll keep this on. You don't have to leave. But did anyone have any questions? I see things in the chat and I have to. Nancy, yes. Thank you so much. Yes, Nancy Meyerhoff is the chair of Senate District 34 DFL. And she is a champion of the ERA. So thank you, Nancy, for everything and helping with Limmer. Barb, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Jesse had to go. Yeah, TPT cable channel 202 as well. That's a good call out. If you don't do it through your website, you can do it through TPT channel 202. And again, so much of this was a new world for me. I didn't realize that I could watch these legislative procedures from TV or from the websites. So this is, and again, I've been doing this work now for almost 5 years and I'm still learning, and we're all still learning new ways of doing this work together. So if you have ideas or things that you want to look at, we would love to hear them. And you can feel free to, we don't own the Equal Rights Amendment. Sorry, my cat. It is everyone's. So please spread the word the way that you best see fit. And talking to your legislators, share your stories, your personal story as to why it matters to you is the most important way to get the message out there. It's not a script, it's from your heart. And that's what's really important. And if you need help getting numbers and facts and those resources, we have them on our website, eramn.org. On the resources page, we have presentations, we have brochures. We try to put everything up there that we can. And again, don't hesitate to ask any questions if you have any. I can put this into the chat.
And Heather, I just put a link of the
Yes.
Women's Press article. So
Yes.
any way people can share a story, please use anything that's available.
Suzanne was just asked to do an editorial, and Suzanne's our previous VP and worked so hard on the Equal Rights Amendment and so many other issues. But yes, editorials, letters to the editor, opinion pieces, all of those are ways to get involved and to help. Because unless they know, they don't know. And the only way they know is by us telling them. And that's, not just our senators and our representatives, but everyone, friends, family, all the municipal level elected officials, school groups, church groups, volunteer organizations. Because I didn't know that the Equal Rights Amendment hadn't passed. I was one of those people who thought that this was done and dusted until I learned otherwise. And there are many people I see every day who say, oh, I thought that happened. Nope, sure didn't.
And do each of you
I was going to actually pop over here to the house.
Elect.
House.
Will the members-elect in the House chamber presently please rise while Justice Thiessen administers the oath of office?
Members-elect, please raise your right hand to take the oath of office. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office to which you have been elected to the best of your ability, so help you God? Please respond, I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
Members and members-elect, Justice Thiessen will now administer the oath of office to members-elect not present in the House chamber in alphabetical order. The Chief Clerk's House will now begin the next form to be signed.
Will the following members-elect, Acomb, Abaje, Albright, Anderson, Backer, Bonner, Barr, Baker, and Becker-Finn, please raise your right hand to take the oath of office. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office to which you have been elected to the best of your ability? So help you God?
I do.
I do.
Congratulations.
So that's interesting that they're, like I said, it's a big difference between the Senate and the House and how they're doing everything. You know, it's great that the House has been able to figure out how they can show their virtual members and all that. Meanwhile, the Senate wasn't doing any of that. I wonder if I can see if I can find what the Senate's doing still. Yeah, they're still.
Eric R. Pratt.
There's no way, I don't even see a monitor anywhere for the Senate virtual members. And so it's you know, it's always illuminating to see that it's not just the fact that getting bills heard in committee in the Senate is so challenging, but when you see the entire infrastructure and the way that things are run and done, the decisions that are made in the process and the inclusivity and non-inclusivity of the process, you can see how that all trickles right through how they handle themselves. This is a very different world in the Senate as it is in the House. And I notice that when I go to the committee meetings, and if you sit in there, you can see how different everything is. But it's always very illuminating to see how they handle all new situations, like having to go virtual. So I'm proud that the House is doing so well with making it more accessible and inclusive. And I'm discouraged that the Senate, again, in their beautiful new building, that, you know, I know that the Senate chamber is in the same building as the House chamber. They have the same access to the same tech, the same, I believe it is the Historical Society. I know they're the ones who do the rentals whenever we do our events in the Capitol building. So I think it's the Historical Society who actually is the vendor for the, a lot of the equipment rentals. And so they have the same access.
Solemnly swear or affirm
Let me say
with the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
Go ahead. Phyllis, did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something since we talked about the Senate office building. It is the worst bird killing building in the city of St. Paul. That glass needs to be fixed so that birds don't crash into it and die. And I think they probably also have to do something about the lighting during migration season.
You are absolutely correct. And that was a fun fact I learned in my trompings around over there, that you wouldn't know that because again, it's this beautiful brand new building, state of the art, everything. But yeah, it's the bird killer.
We now require all state buildings to be done as non-bird killing buildings, but it's not retroactive. It's only for new construction.
which is sad. But at least it's better than nothing. At least that's starting now. And I actually find the Senate building really confusing. You know, the layout, the way the offices are laid out on each floor, it's very confusing. The house, it's a nice circle. You can do a full circle around the floor. And in the Senate, you end up hitting a dead end, and you have to go back the other way to find the next.
Yeah.
When we go there and we're visiting every senator, it doesn't make the most sense. Oops, I didn't mean to pause. I think I paused. Of course, my tech might be starting to go too. What's happening?
And that you will faithfully
Oops, sorry.
office to which you have just been elected to the best of your ability. So help you God. Please say congratulations.
It's interesting that in the oath they say as Christians, assuming that every elected official is a Christian when many of them are not. So I feel like the oath language might need to be updated.
What?
Oh, I think I'm frozen. Hold on one sec. Can you hear me? There we go.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I feel like maybe the oath language needs to be, as we have many more elected officials from greater walks of life, you know, the oath language focusing on Christian and God and all that might need to be updated to be a little bit more inclusive of the members who are having to swear to it.
I don't remember it having any Christian element in it.
Yeah, I just caught that. I didn't either. On the end of that, they said, as Christians, you swear to God.
I don't think so.
It said it right there, and it showed up in the closed captioning. I was surprised. I'm curious. I might have to do a search on the exact language, but that's what showed up on the closed captioning. We'll see if they say it again in this next round, but that really kind of surprised me. Let's see if we can switch back while they're figuring themselves out. See what's happening in the Senate.
Are you Gary Newton from Senate District 37?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so they do have the Zoom showing.
Mary N. Housley. Are you Karn Housley from Senate District 39?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 40, Chris A. Eaton. Are you Chris Eaton from Senate District 40?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 42, Jason Isaacson. Are you Jason Isaacson from Senate District 42?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 46, Ron Latz. Are you Ron Latz from Senate District 46?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 51.
Senator Latz has been trying hard to work together with us to try to come up with messaging and coming at it from a constitutional standpoint. He's very supportive, but he's made us think hard about how we approach things. So he's been great.
District 57, Greg D. Clausen. Are you Greg Clausen from Senate District 57?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 60, Kari Dietzick. Are you Kari Dietzick, Senate 60? Patricia Torres Ray. Are you Patricia Torres Ray from Senate District 63?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 66, John Marty. Are you John Marty from Senate District 66?
Yes, I am.
Senate District 67, Feng He. Are you Feng He from Senate District 67?
Yes, I am.
I will ask Justice Anderson to administer the oath of office. Each senator will respond with "I do" when the clerk calls your name.
Please raise your right hand. Do each of you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and to discharge faithfully your duties as a senator to the best of your judgment and ability, so help you God?
I do. I do.
District 12, Cory N. Westrom.
I do.
District 37, Jerry Newton.
I do.
Do each of you solemnly swear
Senate District 39, Aaron Housley.
I do.
Senate District 40, Chris A. Eaton.
I do.
Senate District 42, Jason Isaacson.
I do.
Senate District 46, Ron Lett.
I do.
Senate District 1,
I do.
Senate District 60, Kari Dietzick.
I do.
Senate District 63, Patricia Torres Ray.
I do.
Senate District 66, John Marty.
I do.
Senate District 67, Feng He.
I do. I do.
So I think what happened with the House and the Christian thing is it showed.
Hagan could please stand up.
It was a mistype on the teleprompter part.
Thank you, Representative.
They didn't talk about tough women over there in the House, and I was intrigued at what they were talking about with tough women.
Will the following members elect? Greenman, Gruenhagen, Haley, Hamilton, Hanson R., Hanson J.
It's just interesting watching. Yeah, so the teleprompter I think made a mistake. So I rescind my judging comments from earlier. I will be right back.
whole series of events when we were at that time 34-33, Republicans 34, Democrats 33, and suddenly we had this discrepancy about what direction we should go. We believed that that position could hold the lieutenant governor position and still be a senator, and there was court battles. In the end, there was also a special election. It cost both sides a lot of money, and it made it very difficult for us to govern in the Senate when we were 33-33 and wondering how it was going to turn out. And so we made a decision, the Republicans in the Senate, to elect Senator Tomassoni as president in November and in December special sessions, so that if Senator Amy Klobuchar ended up being part of President-elect Biden's cabinet, and if Senator Walz decided to then pick Lieutenant Governor Flanagan to become the federal senator, that we would not have another scenario where our narrow majority was jeopardized. And so the last remaining president, or last elected president, is Senator Tomassoni. So we worked with our nonpartisan staff, and they said that we can, for a period of time, appoint acting president of Senator Miller and Senator Pro Temp to be Senator Tomassoni, and the two will work together for a while we wait to see what President-elect Biden does. So I know that's a long answer, but I'd rather just lay it out all on the table of why we're doing what we're doing.
Senator Kent.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. And thank you, Senator Gazelka, for that thorough and transparent explanation. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I certainly remember that time very well. I think those of us who were here definitely do. And I think it is worthwhile to avoid getting in that situation. I do think that the solution is probably more in line with changing statute, not necessarily through an alteration of our customs in the Senate. I would, if Madam Lieutenant Governor, if Senator Gazelka would continue to yield.
He will yield.
Thank you. Senator Gazelka, I would just ask, because we have all just stood here and sworn to uphold the Constitution, and the Constitution does address the role of the Senate President. For example, in Article 4, Section 15, it specifies that each House shall elect its presiding officer and other officers as may be provided by law. In Article 4, Section 20, under enrollment of bills, the Constitution says that every bill passed by both houses shall be enrolled and signed by the presiding officer of each House. I must note, keenly aware of the need to act urgently when needed, and I just want to ask your thoughts, what your understanding in terms of the constitutional impacts are, and how that is consistent with the oath that we all just swore to uphold.
Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and Senator Kent. I understand and interpret it the same way, that there is a point where if there is a bill that passed and that requires a president of the Senate to sign off. I agree with that. Maybe this is the direction that if the governor gives up his emergency powers, then we have to work through that scenario, because I am absolutely committed that the Senate will work with the House in any COVID-related emergency that we would be prompt related to vaccinations or any other thing that may come up that we agree on.
Senator Kent.
Thank you, Senator Gazelka and Madam Lieutenant Governor.
He's starting already with the swarminess. Good Lord. And I thought I had that ball. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that the sound was off when I went to go check in on my son who's doing the distance learning and to use the restroom. So I apologize. I thought I had this, so you all weren't getting to hear what was happening. Let's switch over to the House and just see what's going on. So it's very interesting because they're trying to, Pappas.
Sir, I have concerns that we're not, again, fulfilling our constitutional duty to be duly organized. So could you just address that first, and then I have a few more questions.
Why isn't Pappas wearing a mask? And she's one of our ERA crusaders. I'm very surprised she's not wearing a mask.
Constitution, which is why we sought out our nonpartisan staffs, Mr. Bodden, about what are the steps that we can do, and does this meet constitutional muster? And basically what Senator Kent said is accurate. We have this period of time that we can appoint an acting president without voting on the president of the Senate.
And Mr. Majority Leader, why not, we've been here, why not just elect Senator Thomasoni as your president? You could always elect someone else later. Why go through these shenanigans, these measures that are just not common usage in the Senate? Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. Senator Pappas, it has to do with what I laid out as a path. I think Senator Thomasoni has done a reasonable job. Senator Miller certainly wants to remain the president. Our caucus supports him as president. And so we're trying to find a place in between that fulfilled our obligations to the Constitution, but also acknowledge that Senator Miller has done a great job, and we want him to remain president long term.
So, again, Madam Lieutenant Governor and Senator Gazelka, so there are various duties that the president has, like right now committees are starting to meet and bills are assigned to different committees. So who is undertaking those duties then? The proposed president pro tem or the proposed acting president? Senator Gazelka.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, Senator Pappas, it's acting president has the ability to do those things. But I would envision for whatever period of time that we were here that they would share duties up front.
Senator Pappas. Madam Lieutenant Governor, I just have to say that there seems to be a pattern in your party to kind of not following the rules, to inventing rules as we move along that are convenient to you, and I think it would be much preferable if we just Thank you.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, Senator Pappas is why we're approaching this, why we sought out our nonpartisan legal staff to make sure that we were doing the right thing. As far as doing the right thing, just so you all know, I contacted Senator Kent last night to actually talk about what we were doing and actually told her why we were doing what we're doing, rather than to surprise you, which I think Senator Kent made a valid point months earlier about some of our activities, and so we tried to do it in a way that I think the whole Senate would appreciate and understand what we're trying to do. We don't know that that scenario I laid out will happen, but in my time period, it has happened within the last 4 years, and it was very difficult to manage the Senate under that scenario. And so we're just simply trying to avoid that scenario. I don't think it will last long, but that's the reason why.
No question. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. If Senator Gazelka would yield.
He will yield. Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Senator Gazelka, for your explanation. I continue to have the same concerns as articulated by Senator Pappas and Minority Leader Kent. But one question that seems to have been glossed over that I wanted to explore a little bit more with you is, you said we're going to have this kind of temporary arrangement outside of the rules and outside of custom and usage and outside of our Constitution until such time as we actually need to enroll a bill and send it to the governor for signature. So does that imply that the bills that are passed up to that point that aren't deemed to be urgent enough by yourself or whomever are just going to stack up at the desk and not be forwarded on to the governor for his consideration?
Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. Senator Dibble, but this is clearly within the guidance of the Constitution. We are not going around the Constitution. We actually sought our nonpartisan legal staff to make sure we were following the Constitution and within the Constitution, and yet trying to avoid another pitfall that we had just, I think, 4 years ago.
Senator Dibble.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. If Senator Gazelka would still yield.
He will yield. Senator Dibble.
Thank you. Senator Gazelka, well, I think Senator Pappas laid it out pretty clearly. We're outside of the Constitution. We're outside of our rules. We're outside of custom and usage. It is precedent for your caucus to behave in that manner. We had a lieutenant governor sitting in the president's chair for an entire session, and your caucus saw fit to overlook the Constitution in that instance. My question is, who's going to determine whether a bill is urgent enough to deem sufficient to need a signature of the president to pass on to the governor. Is that yourself?
Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. First of all, the majority decides what is a priority, listening to the people. But I do find it offensive that some of your comments about assuming some of the assumptions about why we're doing what we're doing. We are absolutely trying to follow the Constitution, sought our nonpartisan legal staff to make sure we were doing it the right way, reached out to the minority leadership to tell them what we're trying to do. So at every step, we're trying to do the right thing the right way, but we're also trying to avoid a situation that we had in just the last few years that we don't want to go through again.
Senator DeVille.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess I don't have any more questions. I think it's pretty apparent. The public can see for themselves that we're just going to act in ways that are outside of the longstanding traditions and custom and rules and the Constitution, and that seems to be fine with the majority party. Thank you, Madam.
You see it play, and it's hard.
To the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. No. The motion does not prevail, and the resolution is not adopted. Senator Gazelka.
Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, I move for a brief recess.
A recess is granted.
And this directly impacts the work we do. So who gets elected as a president, or if they don't have a president in the Senate, the way that they're exactly like Senator Dibble and Senator Pappas were trying to point out, this directly affects the process of how bills are going to get through the Senate or don't get through the Senate. And he's already setting it all up right here at the start, that the plan is basically to just stalwart and block anything and everything they can. And this is what's also hard, is that so many people aren't able to watch these proceedings or don't know that they can watch these proceedings, so they don't see and hear that this is what's done. So that's where we have to continue to try to bring folks in and see how the process is and isn't happening. And because it directly affects every single one of us, whether we're working on a cause or not. Just being Minnesotans, this is direct.
Heather,
yeah,
what were they actually trying to accomplish there?
So
with this, because I couldn't figure out why do they want to do this?
He's trying to make it so that basically the majority caucus, which is the GOP, and again, we are nonpartisan. We don't care who is, right. But right now the Senate majority are the GOP. And so they are trying to make it so that the process, as stated in the Senate, in the state constitution and the Senate laws, there's a process, there are procedures, and there's ways that things have to be done, and that the elected president of the Senate has certain powers. And they're trying to make it so that there isn't an elected president, that they kind of cobble together the folks who they know support. They're basically, it's saying it without saying it, they're not saying that, yes, we want to control what bills go where, but that's basically what they're trying to ensure, is that they have control over what bills get signed off by the governor and what bills don't. So the president of the Senate can basically has power in deciding what committees bills are heard in and what emergency bills go straight to the governor's desk and all those big important pieces.
And who is the president of the Senate?
Well, that's the thing. There isn't one right now. And so Thomas Stoney, I think, was.
And why would he not continue? Or what is it they are attempting to do that is different than normal here?
So they're trying to have like a pro tem. They're trying to have basically an acting president and a previous president, and they're trying to sort of navigate through the system and not elect a new president.
And why do they not want to elect a new president? Do they feel they can't get their guy back in?
I think they feel like they won't be able to achieve the agenda they want to achieve if it goes to an election in the Senate. I think they basically are pretty sure that because Thomas Soni is a DFLer, and so I think they're pretty sure that you know they want to keep the majority at every level.
Okay, but now this was just defeated. Is that correct?
So they're in recess right now to guess. Yeah. So the resolution did not pass. So I think they're recessing now to come up with a plan.
Okay.
And so this is the part of the swearing in part is they not only swear in all of the elects, but they choose their leadership.
This absolutely gorgeous book of photographs of your house here.
I can't hear that.
I think it's someone talking in the background.
Oh, okay.
So I was going to have this running just for a little bit more because I thought they would have elected their leadership by now. And meanwhile, on the House side, they're still calling in the oath. They're still swearing in their members. So they haven't done their leadership election yet. But it's the Senate that we, of course, are the most concerned with because that's where we know we have the most work to do. So I'm just going to.
Okay.
I don't think they're saying anything yet. And again, this is all stuff that these decisions that are made, and that's where Dibble and Pappas and everyone are trying to fight and say that Senator Gazelka is basically working outside the rules and trying to continue to make it possible to work outside the rules and trying to give strength to the majority caucus and their ability to work outside the rules because they always have done. You know, as long as they've had the majority, that's historically what gets brought up in committee is that they're working outside of the procedures and rules of the Senate, and just making it so that bills don't get heard, they don't get processed the way they should. And again, this is coming from a nonpartisan standpoint, but it's very discouraging that that's exactly why so many very important pieces of legislation just get blocked and never heard. We see our House members over there getting sworn in.
And that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office to which you have just been elected to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I do. I do.
Congratulations.
Right.
Over here. Every time I click on I want to get to the vote. Here we are. So motion to reconsider. So they're voting to basically talk about it again. That's frustrating. And this is what we see so often is the leadership wields its power so strongly that especially new folks who are just newly elected able to really vote their own values.
You please come and vote.
That's
I mean, can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me? Okay.
And senators in room 303, will you please come to the chamber and vote?
Senate has majority, of course, no one's going to vote against their, so they're all going to vote in alignment. Yeah. And unfortunately, I hadn't thought this would all go on so long, so I may have to, I can leave it running, but I may have to step aside. I got to go check in on Benjamin's schoolwork here in a little bit. I just wanted to hear the leadership elections. The House is still roll calling. Now they're showing pretty shots of the House chamber. It is beautiful. The ceiling in there is just gorgeous.
Heather, will there be a
Not surprise you that I am the person who is asking you to create a little bit of social distance. So if you can, once you have voted and there's another room where you are. Senator Friends.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. I report a no for Senator Carlson.
Carlson votes no.
I report a no for Senator Clausen.
Clausen votes no.
I report a no for Senator Dietzick.
Dietzick votes no.
I report a no for Senator Eaton.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Slow down, yeah.
Senator Friends, can you go back to Eaton, please? Senator Eaton.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. I report a no for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes no.
I report a no for Senator Herr.
Senator Herr votes no.
I report a no for Senator Isaacson.
Senator Isaacson votes no.
I report a no for Senator Latz.
Senator Latz votes no.
I report a no for Senator Marty.
Senator Marty votes no.
I report a no for Senator Newton.
Senator Newton votes no.
And I report a no for Senator Torres Ray.
Senator Torres Ray votes no.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Madam. I report a vote yes for Senator Housley.
Votes yes.
Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. I report a yes vote for Senator Westrom.
Senator. The clerk will close the roll. There being 38 ayes. There being 38 yeas and 28 nays, the motion prevails, the resolution is adopted. Oh, I'm sorry. The resolution is now put before us. Senator Gazelka, you guys are keeping me on my toes.
Yeah.
Senator Gazelka.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. And it's difficult because we're trying to navigate through COVID. That's one of the very examples of why we got to get the vaccines out and get everybody back working together in person. And I'm going to offer the resolution again. And Lieutenant Governor Flanagan did not know this because she does not run the Senate. But the adjacent rooms here are all considered counted when we're doing a voice vote. And so she would not have known that, nor did we have the staff up front to tell her that. And so that would have passed, but she correctly interpreted the voice that she heard here. And so I just want to let everybody know it's just trying to work through COVID. So Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, I move again that Senate Resolution Number 1 be adopted. No.
Is there any discussion?
Heather,
There being
Yeah.
Heather, are we going to will there be a Zoom session with legislators at some point? I know we had talked about that happening today. Obviously, it's not going to happen today. Do we have another session set up?
No, sorry, I was trying to hear.
adopted.
We're going to vote again on the same thing, right? Make sure everybody gets counted this time.
I think we missed. So I don't know where it's landing.
Thank you.
I think it may have he was opening it up for discussion. And no one discussed.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for helping us organize the Senate. Members, the 2021 COVID adventure begins.
So,
Senator Gazelka.
I guess they're going to stick with how it was with the cobble together. So I'm sorry, I was just trying to, hold on one second.
Cal L. R. Ludeman has been nominated as Secretary for the Senate. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Nominations are closed. The Clerk Pro Tem will call the roll in alphabetical order.
So yeah, so legislative. So this is the thing is, the legislators. We had hoped that maybe they'd want to join us today. I've heard, from a couple of them. We do have, a meeting with a couple about, previous authors about doing bills. And so the legislative meeting is something that we're going to have open up all the time. We'll be asking them, but it especially, sorry, my cat, is helpful if we have their constituents, and that's a call to action we put out to people. We have constituents who want to meet with them, and we can get a group together like we would have done where we used to have groups of constituents and some folks, all ERA Minnesota supporters, go to those meetings and help them arrange those meetings and put them together. We'd have like a group of constituents who go meet with legislators. The offer for legislators to meet with us is always out there. That's something that we've been asking them. We have reaching out and asked legislators, and that's something we'll keep doing. So far, no bites. So hopefully we'll get some, the session's just starting. I'm sure they've all been very distracted and busy. We had let them know about this. And of course, if any could have come, they would. But yes, that is something that we are going to keep trying to do is
okay.
Come and speak with us. And as soon as we find out that any are available, we'll of course put it out there and try to make sure we have folks in their districts, because that's always super important. So we'll put a call out to our supporter base and say, hey, we have these legislators who want to meet with us on this day. Any of you who could, that would be great. And then reverse, anyone who wants to arrange a meeting with their representatives and their senators, they can do that. And if they want someone from ERA Minnesota to be a part of that, we are happy to be a part of that. We can also help arrange those meetings. So yeah, that is definitely something we are still trying to do.
Okay, I just wanted to know if there was anything I should have on my schedule or
not yet
be watching for. So at this point, we've wrapped up all of our welcome stuff. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We've done all our welcome packages out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not the postcards. The postcards are going to go out. So we are, for folks who don't know what Janet's referencing here, we are going to, because again, we couldn't be there for first day in person. And so we were trying to come at it from a very multi-pronged approach. So that was the social media storm we're doing all day today that Haley talked about earlier. So be sure to use those hashtags that she mentioned. And if you want that guide again, I can send it to you. We were also, doing this, and we sent an email out to it went from my personal email on behalf of the organization, my ERAMN email to every legislator, welcoming them back to session. And then we'll also be sending all senators and representatives, even their constituents can send in. We'll be issuing those with the bill numbers once we have bill numbers. This is purely the welcome to the legislature postcard, just to try to get in front of them in as many ways as possible. So that's the package that Janet was referencing.
Yeah. Okay.
We're staggering the postcards because we wanted to kind of, instead of having it all hit on one day where they maybe won't see half of it, we're trying to stagger it across. So the postcards will be getting printed, and then we'll send those to their state complex addresses.
Okay, just needed to check. I'm off to a doctor's appointment,
Oh,
but holler.
you're okay.
Everything's okay.
Okay, good.
I pulled a muscle coughing. It's not a big deal.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Those are the worst, like sneezing, coughing.
I know. But I got to go to the doctor before I can get some medicine for it. So
okay, I hope you feel better soon.
I'll be fine. Thanks for everything you did today. It really was.
Thank you for everything that Janet did. Our letter. She and Betty worked on that. Thank you for all of your work on everything, and we'll keep working at it.
Just keep me in the loop.
I will. Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Well, I think let me just hear what the Senate's saying real quick.
Senator Draheim votes Ludeman. Senator Duckworth. Senator Duckworth votes Ludeman.
I don't know who they're voting for, who they're electing, but we will be sure to, as always, we have all of the in our district pages, which we'll be updating soon on our website. We have all of the senators and representatives, their stances on the ERA, their contact information, and any critical roles that they may play as committee chairs for the committees hearing the ERA bills, or any of that information. Or if they end up, it doesn't sound like they're going to elect the president. But anyway, okay, Pauline, thank you so much for being here so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom call. And this is a recording that we can share with folks if they need it. So just let me know if you hear of anyone who wants to see it. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was great to see you. Happy first day of session. Bye. Bye, Judy. Take care. Phyllis, we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, I know. I heard that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I was listening. I was listening. I just wasn't sitting in front of the computer screen anymore.
That's fine. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah. Okay, I'm leaving.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
Thanks for putting it together.
Thank you for being here. We'll hope to see you soon.